Guessing that you don't want to mess your diet up, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on this video. Here's reality, right? It is the 1st of March. We are past 2 months into the year, and the majority of people whose New Year's resolution was to lose weight have already given up. They have already quit. And the reason for that is the same reasons that they are every single year. Let's go through it. Number one, you wanted it to happen quicker than it's gonna. Let's be real here, right? If you've got a lot of weight to lose, and this is your first time dieting, you're not experienced with this, you've yet to ever successfully make this happen, slower and steadier is going to be better for you, even if you hate hearing that. It's better because day to day, week to week, it means that you're going to get to eat more calories. You're going to get to eat more food. The trade-off that we make for faster weight loss is lower food. And for the majority of people who've never successfully dieted, going too low with food too soon is a recipe for disaster. It causes you to give up. It happens every year. Every year for the first few weeks, people diet, they crash diet, they lose a decent chunk of weight, they're incredibly happy with themselves, they're posting it all over Facebook or Instagram and things like that, and then all of a sudden you go pretty quiet, don't you? You stop posting about it. Why is it? Because it stopped happening. You probably put it back on and then some. Your goal isn't to lose a stone in that first month. It's possible, for sure. And the reason for that, and we'll call it a subsection of point one, is you cut out everything you enjoy too quickly. I like to do something called the real world test when it comes to fitness-based things. Does it pass the real world test? Can a normal person with a normal job, living a normal life, adhere to it over a long enough period of time for the results to be significant? And when people cut out the things that they enjoy, sure, they lose a lot of weight pretty quickly, usually because they slashed their calories massively compared to what they were eating. However, it fails the real world test because they are unable to keep that food that they enjoy out of their diet long term without feeling miserable, which leads me into point number two. You took your weight loss methodologies and your ideas behind how you're going to make this happen from the wrong people. And it isn't your fault, because it seems that literally millions of people fall into this same trap all the time. Every few years there is the latest influencer that is just the loudest, the sweariest usually, telling you what you can and what you can't eat if you want to get to X result. And guess what? Usually if people follow that advice, because that advice is so extreme, yeah, they tend to get the result. But again, it fails that real world test. Right now we've got guys like Eddie Abu telling you that every food on the planet is shit. And you got people defending him saying, oh, I listened to him, I got this result. Yeah, you did in the last few months. But in a few years' time, all that this is serving to do is line the pockets of some personal trainers that are going to end up having to fix this problem, when a load of people end up with disordered eating because they don't understand how to actually adhere to and sustain the results that they're getting, because their approach was to just cut out all of the things that they actually enjoy. And they can't stick to that long term because that isn't reality. That isn't the world that we live in. If your approach to dieting, and again, you're someone that has never succeeded in this before, is immediately cut out donuts, cut out cereal, cut out bread, cut out pizza, pasta, carbs in general, guess what? You are almost always somebody that is either A, going to be miserable for the rest of your life, but hey, you kept the fat loss, or B, somebody that's going to fall back off the wagon and end up back where you were. And again, it isn't your fault, because these are the videos, people scream the loudest, the people that are the most dramatic, those are the videos that get the most views, because the ones that are accurate, the ones that are actually helpful, it is boring. My video right now is probably too boring to get many views. But boring is simple, and boring is what is working. And guess what? Everyone that is trying to sell you on their dramatic lie, they know this. The majority of people run their social medias as a business first. They care most about how to make the most money. Helping the most people, being the most helpful, is largely not even a concern, let alone a priority above money. And the easiest way to make a lot of money is to attempt to scam people that do not know any better, and the people that do not know any better are the ones that have yet to succeed with their diet. It is to get them some short-term results, because again, if you cut out all of the foods that you enjoy, it isn't because they're processed that caused you to get fat in the first place. It isn't because of the sugar that was in them. It isn't because of the amount of ingredients. It's because they have a lot of calories. You enjoyed eating a lot of calories. You enjoyed eating too many calories for too long of a period of time and put on too much fat over time. No one ever got fat from eating 10,000 calories of processed crap today. Didn't happen. One-offs don't get you fat. No one got obese in a day. But trying to get people to understand how calories in and calories out works when it comes to your weight loss doesn't sell. It is the same reason why companies like Slimming World are designed to keep people coming back. Fun fact, I remember once I had a whole conversation with my partner's stepmother because she thought she knew more about dieting than I did because, and I quote, she'd been in Slimming World since before I was born. Do you not understand how that is a problem? The business model of all of these companies is to create recurring income from people that don't know any better. It is not helpful. So again, back to the title of this video, if you actually want to succeed with your diet and not fail, you have got to learn how to incorporate the things that you enjoy long term. Otherwise, you either be miserable forever or you fall off. That is what happens. The latest current trends are not the first. They won't be the last. Every couple of years, there is a new thing that we demonize because that is how businesses make the most money, being dramatic. Now on to the third reason that your diet's probably going to fail this year. And this one's a little bit different because it comes after you've already lost quite a lot of weight over a decent period of time. You've done what you needed to do. Remember, assuming you lose a big chunk of your body weight, because that's what your goal is here, you now have different caloric needs to stay your new current weight than you did prior to the start of your diet. At the end of your diet, you can't just go back to eating exactly the same amount of calories that you were before. And that is what a lot of people do. They'll diet for months, lose some weight, and then go back to however they ate before. This is why understanding calories in, calories out is, again, the important thing here. Let's talk about it in terms of cars, because it's an easy analogy to understand. A bigger, more powerful engine is going to use more fuel to move the bigger car, yeah? If somebody has a Ford Raptor, a massive pickup truck, it's going to get worse mile per the gallon, it's going to use more fuel than a little Ford Fiesta will. In human speak, if you used to weigh 200 pounds, you were a bigger machine. You needed more fuel to live. If you now weigh 160 pounds, you've lost loads of weight. You look like a completely different person. Mission accomplished. You are now a smaller machine that is going to require less calories to stay 160 pounds. You can't go back to putting in as many calories as you were when you were 200 pounds. Because if you do, guess what? Over the next few months and years, you end up back at that 200 pounds. This doesn't mean that you're stuck on your dieting calories forever, though. That's not how this works, because if you're dieting, you are in a calorie deficit. You're eating less calories than you needed to stay the same weight. But what it does mean is that you've got to find that middle ground, and that's through trial and error, and generally having a weight on the scale that is sort of acceptable when it comes to fluctuations within your brain. Most people get stressed out if the number that they see at the end of their diet isn't the number that they then maintain. But again, that is unrealistic because you're going to increase your calories. You are going to gain some scale weight at the end of a diet. You always will. When you cut out calories, you are cutting out carbohydrates. For every gram of carbohydrates you eat, you'll hold on to about 4 grams of water. But that doesn't matter in terms of how you look because you're trying to lose fat and not water. But what it does mean is that when you increase your calories back up to your new maintenance at the end of your diet, you gain some scale weight. That scale weight isn't fat, so it doesn't matter, but it is going to play with your head. On top of that, you're going to be eating more actual food because you're eating more calories. That food has mass to it. That's going to be in you sometimes when you weigh yourself because that's how digestion works. That's going to have weight on the scale. Instead, back to that whole real world test thing. Understand as a normal person that your weight is likely to fluctuate throughout the year. Most people are heavier through the winter around Christmas than they are likely to be around the summer. Why? Because around the summer, we're a little bit more active, we're happier, we're outdoors more, we're burning more calories day to day because the weather is better, we're happier. However, over the winter, you are likely to gain some weight, not just because magical winter weight, but because we've got Christmas. If you're in America, you've got Thanksgiving. We move around a lot less because it's colder. Our calorie expenditure goes down, and therefore our weight goes up. Calories in go up, calories out go down. That's a recipe for some weight gain. But that is okay. That is normal. So to consider your diet a success, once you are done, understand that your new low weigh-in is not likely to be the weight that you walk around at because it just isn't going to be sustainable like that. You're probably going to have like 5 to 10 pounds of wiggle room. And throughout a year, if your goal is now to maintain that weight forever, you're probably going to wiggle around in that 10-pound range. And that is just fine. Because again, another reason that you might fail, bonus point, I guess, is you trying to continually see the same number on the scale at the end of a diet is going to cause you to become so overly stressed that at some point it leads you to rage quit the entire lifestyle and just not care anymore and then end up back where you were in the start. So to not fail at the end of a diet, increase your calories. Maybe use a calorie calculator again, like you did at the start of your diet, to get an idea of how many calories your new maintenance might need. Eat that calories accurately for a few weeks, see what happens on the scale. As that new amount of calories becomes your new normal, you will find a new normal weight on the scale as well. If over a significant period of time the number on the scale keeps climbing and climbing and climbing, then the number of calories you're putting in is a calorie surplus and not maintenance. So again, this is just trial and error. And at some point, you won't even have to track your calories at all because you'll just know around about how much food a day is going to keep you around your same weight. And as a normal functioning member of society, you're unlikely to eat the same amount of calories every day anyway, especially when you account for social occasions, weekends, birthdays, parties, Christmas, all these things that are going to cause fluctuations. That's why it's a good thing to have a range of body weights that you're accepting yourself within. It is normal to have to diet more than once. Maybe at some point you've got to lose a bit of weight because you put on a little bit more than you wanted to. Some people accept that life. I accept that life. I like the fact that I can spend 6 months of every year bulking, slowly gaining like 30 pounds, and then lose 20 pounds in about 6 weeks because I am able to do that. You as a normal person that's now lost like 40 pounds, made a dramatic lifestyle transformation, and then you've gained maybe 10 to 15 back. If you now need to pull off 10, you know what to do now because you've done it properly. You didn't expect it to happen too quickly. You didn't listen to the wrong people and therefore hate your life because you cut out all of the things that you enjoy. You didn't rebound back to your original weight because you understand how to exit the diet successfully by slowly tapering your calories up, understanding that the scale is going to increase a little bit and it isn't going to mean that you throw your toys out the pram and just end up binging again. You understand now how calories in and calories out work. You understand how to eat the foods that you enjoy within moderation and maintain your weight to some range that is happy. And if for some reason, over the course of time, you creep outside of your acceptable weight range, you now have the power to fix that without stressing, without having to fall back into this recurring loop, this recurring trap, where all these businesses get to rinse you for money because they keep people who don't understand in the dark, because that is what they are designed to do, so that they can keep people like someone I mentioned earlier on in business. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. This was very ranty, I know. But if you made it this far into the video, comment rant down below and make sure you're subscribed.